Welcome back to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruby, and this is my review for Netflix's original kind of remake of Bastard Heavy Metal Dark Fantasy. This is the second part rather than the second season. It's episodes 14 to 24. Going to talk about it non-spoiler. Where we left off was quite a big cliffhanger. Let's get into it. So episode 14 saw our hero, Dark Snyder, having to rip out his heart to save his loved one. That's where we were left with in episode 13. 14 picks up exactly from that moment. And then you think, well, who's going to stop him? Who's going to save him? How is he going to save the one he loves? He can't actually die. He's the hero of this anime, right? And then stuff happens without going into spoilers, and this anime manages to do what I think no anime has done before by putting in all the cliches, all the pervy characters, all the ridiculous dialogue that shouldn't work, and you just add that amalgamation in and you keep adding in. If you've watched the first 13, then you understand what this animation is about. It definitely split fans as well. There were those that thought this anime should never have been made and was too risque to be made, and then there were those that embraced it and kind of knew what it was. I was on the fence because I'd never heard of this, I'd never experienced this, and I had my mind opened to this world. I don't know if it's a wonderful world, but my mind was open to it, and now I kind of understand where it is, and it continues to embrace that momentum that it started based on the manga comics, and now we have this very tongue-in-cheek with the worst, cringiest dialogue that is kind of a parody of all anime and yet somehow works. And part of the reason of that is it continues to dive down the mimicking of this weird metal score with the tongue-in-cheek storyline that we get. If you've ever watched Game of Thrones or the new prequel, then you'll probably be singing the theme tune again, and you've probably heard the kind of make takes of that death and boobies, death and boobies. That's kind of what you get in this series. Death and boobies, incest and boobies, it's all kind of hitting all of those marks. There's some very cool new characters. Lech was one of the first one, Lech, the commander of Decay, and it's all about breaking the seals to get that demon out so they can release or try and control that power. It's that big kind of arc that the bad guys are super bad. Anybody who is part of the darkness might survive, and the good guys, there's always this moment where you think they're just about going to win, and then another guy will come and is super powered. It's classic anime that way, and you think, how on earth are they going to beat them? Now, our main protagonist is a self-professed bad guy, yet he has the soul of a young boy within him, and if he gets kissed, he gets transformed into our main protagonist, and then he gets kissed again, he'll get turned into Lucius. So it's an interesting storyline that we've seen before in films like Lady Hawk. It's not a story that's done like completely fresh, but it is an interesting take to take that mechanic and put it in as our hero protagonist in an anime series, and then see how the good will kind of outweigh the bad with that. Will the soul of a good person influence the evil one? And you see his character sticking to what he is, but there's these little moments where you see even the characters question who he is or what he is, and how come he's changing, how come he's done things a little bit different, how come he's a bit more human. I like that aspect of it, and that's probably about as deep as the series gets, because it isn't much deeper than that. All our characters, whenever they're fighting, will spout their moves, whatever move they're about to do when they're powering up, like in Dragon Ball Z or Pokemon. They will say in classic anime style the thing that they're going to do to let the bad guy or the good guy know what move is about to come, and then they'll respond with, "What? Wow, who knew they had this type of power?" And then they will go and say, "But you didn't know, you didn't think that was my ultimate move yet, did you?" And then they'll come back with an even greater, bigger explosion type move. Now, the animation itself is fun to watch. It's big, colorful, bright, and the music will complement that when it needs to. There's also a hell of a lot of spouting of exposition of characters trying to say what their plan is. Bad guys, good guys will always tell you what they're planning next. Never mind just saying your move, they will also tell you their plan. Classic monologue bad guy. And sometimes our protagonist will say, "I'm not listening to that," and just hit it on the head and make fun of the fact that it is a parody of all these type of anime stories. At the same time, we still get that spouting of exposition as to what's going to happen next in the arc. It is hitting all those marks, the classic kind of, hey, you know what else they've got in anime? This thing. And then they put it in. And so we have the bad guys trying to raise Anthraxis. I think that's how you say it. It's all about the Anthraxis awakening. And every time somebody uses a bit of that power, the bad guy that ensues is even more powerful. And every time you beat the bad guy, you think that you've beaten him, and yet this is my ultimate move. The guys have six-packs on their six-packs. The girls wear next to nothing. And the dubbing, I think, is better than the original because it's quite funny. And somehow that translates better in English, for me anyways, than the original language. That's just my perception of that. Normally, I would suggest definitely watching the original language. Let me know what you think. If you tried both out in the original or in the dubbing. I found the dubbing to be better for this particular anime. And if you didn't think this anime was pervy at all, there are a couple of moments that will probably have your mouth and jaw dropping when he goes, I will love you like the daughter you are. I raised and loved you like the daughter you are. And then he's fondling her in all places you should not be fondling a daughter. And so there are moments in this anime I was just like, what is this I'm watching? Surprisingly, it's still really fun because it knows what it is. It doesn't shy away from that. The score, the animation style, the craziness in the dialogue, the action scenes that you see, gory, bloody, sexist with the woman, but the character is learning something along the way, exactly like I'd expect from the culture. Like, this is a true anime parody of all animes. None of that makes sense, and you're kind of understanding what this is. It's also funny, so it's a real mixed bag. I don't know if I could rate this as like a great anime, but at the same time, I think it also might be a good anime. Let me know your thoughts and feelings of this. It doesn't end on a this is the story complete. It ends on an even bigger cliffhanger than the first one we had. If you thought the first one was a big cliffhanger, this is even bigger. And you're like, Ruben, how can they have an even big cliffhanger than ripping out of the heart? Well, you'll have to wait and see. Let me know where you think it's gonna go in the next season. I have my theories, but I'm not gonna go into that because I don't know much about the manga. I've never read it, and they don't give you that much to hold on, but I have an idea what they're gonna do with it. Do you think we should even get more? Thanks so much for watching. I'm gonna rate this 3 Nicolas Cages out of 5.
Give me a C. Give me an H.
Give me your rating down below and your favorite anime from Netflix at the moment. It's a really great time to be a fan of anime, at least on Netflix. If you have Netflix, there's 3 new titles that I've dropped this week, films and TV series. Are you going to check them out? Until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.